Good evening, everyone. Some girls, hang on, I forgot my chords. Those are important. Some girls feel best in the tiny dresses. Some girls, nothing but sweatpants, looking like a princess. Some girls kiss their lips every single night. They're staying out late cause they're just celebrating life. You know, some days you feel so good in your own skin, but it's okay if you want to change the body that you came in. Cause you're the greatest when you feel like a damn queen. We're all just playing a game in a way, trying to win that life. Most girls are smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far, we are unstoppable. Most girls are fight to make every day. No two are the same. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like some girls. Like to keep their physique real private. Some girls wear jeans so tight cause it feels so right, yeah. Some girls every day search and keep the beach turning, sleeping in late cause they're just celebrating life. You know, some days you feel so good in your own skin, but it's okay if you want to change the body that you came in. You're the greatest when you feel like a damn queen. We're all just playing a game in a way, trying to win in life. Most girls are smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far, we are unstoppable. Most girls are fight to make every day. No two are the same. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like most girls, yeah, yeah. Most girls wanna be. Most girls are fighting to make every day. No two are the same. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like most girls. I wanna be like I wanna be like Hello, everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for dealing with my technical difficulties. Hello, my name is Stephanie, and I am the lead artistic director here at, not the lead artistic director, the lead artistic associate here at Echo Theater Collective, and I am really excited for the show tonight. Maui, the artistic director, who's usually in charge of pretty much everything, is making me do this, so I'm just kidding. I am very excited to host, but I'm obviously a little nervous because I'm all on my own. But it's okay because we have a great night of monologues and speeches and more songs and scene and a very special interview with Sarah's Inn. Sarah's Inn is an amazing, let me pull up their little splurge we have. So they were a group of concerned women in River Forest and Oak Park, and they addressed the lack of services for victims of domestic violence and their families. So they're an agency that works with women who are abused, families that are abused, and helps to get them help and legal help and counseling. And they're just a wonderful organization, and we're so happy that, as the ticker says below, if you donate to Echo Theater Collective in the next 48 hours, we will be sending 30% of everything that's donated to Sarah's Inn. Later on in the show, we have an interview with the organization that I'm very excited about. So, I think that's all I have to say. Stay tuned. Like I said, I'll be back for the interview. Until then, we have some wonderful songs and monologues and scenes for you to see. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi, so I'm Mary Dixon, and I'm doing a monologue from Greta Gerwig's Little Women that came out last year. And this is Amy's monologue, and I just really admire Greta Gerwig, so that's why I chose this version. So yeah, here we go. Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman, I have no way to make my own money in this world, not enough to earn a living and support my family. Even if I did make my own money, which I don't, it would belong to my husband the minute we were married. If we were to have children, they would belong to him, not me. They would be his property. So don't you sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Andy Donahue. I'm going to be performing an original song called Watch Out. Forgive me if you hear my 2.5-year-old daughter in the background. Hide your door. It's what you're looking for. A dream come true. She's waiting there for you. But watch out. Her knife is out. Such a pretty face. She fell from grace long ago. You stole her soul. But watch out. Her knife is out. So watch out. Her knife is out. Such a pretty face. She fell from grace. A dream come true. But she's after you. Long ago, you stole her soul. A dream come true. Now she's after you. So watch out. Her knife is out. So watch out. Her knife is out.
Thank you. Before I start,
take a second to look around you. These are all your partners in resistance and liberation. And today we must make a commitment to each other and to this movement. Let's channel our disillusionment into finding our collective voice. When I was younger, my father used to always tell me, walk like you know where you're going. For the longest time, it didn't mean much to me. I thought he was just trying to be deep. But when I was 19, he died, and I quickly learned what he meant. I no longer had his guidance as a safety net, and that loss pushed me to figure out what kind of life I wanted to live and the person I wanted to be. I found my voice. Since then, I've been able to see every instance of loss or disappointment as an opportunity to grow. Today, I stand here as a proud, queer, Black, transgender woman from Augusta, Georgia. But I am more than these labels. I'm also a daughter, a sister, an auntie, a friend, a lover, a human, a feminist, and although I'm glad to be here now, it's disheartening that women like me were an afterthought in the initial planning of this march. Many of us had to stand a little taller to be heard, and that exclusion is not new. Trans women of color like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera lit the fire on the LGBTQIA movement, but were quickly pushed aside. They share a common thread with another revolutionary woman I look up to, Sojourner Truth. Just like her, Black women, Muslim women, other women of color, trans women, queer women, and many others are still asking, ain't I a woman? As we commit to each other to build this movement of resistance and liberation, no one can be an afterthought. We have a chance to be stronger and better than we ever have before, and that starts with having hard conversations and being held accountable. But as I look out, I see possibility. I see a committed group of empathetic warriors. I know we have the power to create a new vision of liberation, a world where each and every one of you will hear your voice as loud as I hear mine in this moment. A world where little girls are told they can be confident and strong. Little boys are allowed to cry and show affection. And little kids that fit into neither box are given unconditional love, the love they deserve. A world where our native family isn't silenced on land that was stolen from them. A world where transgender kids like Gavin Grimm and Ashton Whitaker don't wake up and go to schools where the teachers and staff are indistinguishable from bullies. A world where a Black person, whether their name is Freddie Gray or Rakia Boyd, isn't struck down by law enforcement. A world where sex workers aren't demonized and cast away. A world where brave immigrants aren't vilified for moving for a better life. A world where Black and brown transgender women named Mesha Caldwell and Jasmine Sierra don't have to live their lives just to have it taken from them for simply existing. A world where people with disabilities are fully counted and represented. A world where women have the right to choose the fate of their bodies. A world where I can say, Black Lives Matter, or trans is beautiful, or free Palestine, and no one else feels I'm taking anything from them. A world where fear and ignorance never eclipses love and empathy. Now that we know where we're going, we can't turn back. We must take ourselves more seriously than ever before and be bolder in our convictions. We must be radical in our love of ourselves and each other so no one can threaten this vision. I hope on this day we can all lay down any doubt we may have in our power. As I look out at you, all of my sisters, brothers, siblings, I see the start of this vision. This march is one critical step. So, today, let's show the world what liberation looks like. Thank you.
Hope you guys can hear everything okay out there. Brown baby, brown baby, as you grow up, I want you to drink from the plenty cup. I want you to stand up tall and proud. I want you to speak up clear and loud. Brown baby, as years go by, I want you to go with your head up high. I want you to stand and live by the justice code. I want you to walk down freedom's road. You little brown baby. Lie away, sleeping, lie away, safe in my arms. To your daddy and your mama, protect you and keep you safe from harm. Brown baby. Makes me glad you're gonna have those things that I never had, and when out of men's hearts all hate is unhurled, sweetie, you're gonna live in a better world. Brown baby, brown baby, brown baby. So, as a Black musician, Nina Simone has always been a big inspiration to me in my songwriting, especially in her during those 60s when she was more of that political musician, much to the discomfort of many out there. But it was important what she had to say. And so I'm going to read a bit of excerpt from Tom Maxwell's article, A History of American Protest Music, when Nina sang what everyone was thinking. On September 15th, 1963, 4 young girls were killed when white supremacists planted more than a dozen sticks of dynamite beneath the side steps of the African-American 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. The children were preparing for a sermon titled, A Love That Forgives. According to one witness, their bodies flew across the basement like rag dolls. When she heard the news, jazz musician Nina Simone was paralyzed. It was more than I could take, she remembered, and I sat struck dumb in my den like St. Paul on the road to Damascus. All the truths that I had denied to myself for so long rose up and slapped me in the face. The bombing of the little girls in Alabama and the murder of Medgar Evers were like the final pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that made no sense until you had fitted the whole thing together. I suddenly realized what it was to be black in America in 1963. But it wasn't an intellectual connection. It came as a rush of fury, hatred, and determination. In church language, the truth entered into me, and I came through it. Simone's initial reaction was less than Christian. I had it in my mind to go out and kill someone, she remembered. I tried to make a zip gun. Andy, her husband and manager, intervened. Nina, he said, you can't kill anyone. You're a musician. Do what you do. An hour later, Nina Simone had composed a song called Mississippi Goddamn. It was my first civil rights song, she recalled, and it erupted out of me quicker than I could write it down. Mississippi Goddamn became one of Nina Simone's most famous compositions. It redirected her career. Crisply honest, it is the pure expression of rage and indictment of inequality. Stylistically, it leapfrogged the righteous, passive anthems that characterized protest music of the time. It was knowing, biting, and inciting. It was a step Simone was reluctant to take. Nightclubs were dirty, making dirty records, popular music was dirty, and to mix all that with politics seemed senseless and demeaning. She wrote in her autobiography, I Put a Spell on You. And until songs like Mississippi Goddamn just burst out of me, I had musical problems as well. How can you take the memory of a man like Medgar Evers and reduce all of that he was, to 3.5 minutes and a simple tune? That was the musical side of it I shield away from. I didn't like protest music because a lot of it was so simple and unimaginative. It stripped the dignity away from the people it was trying to celebrate. But the Alabama church bombing and the murder of Medgar Evers stopped that argument, and with Mississippi Goddamn, I realized there was no turning back. Shortly after the song's debut in New York, Nina Simone performed it to a mostly white audience at Carnegie Hall in March 1964. It starts off at a clip. The name of this tune is Mississippi Goddamn, Simone declares in nervous laughter as the band vamps behind her, and I mean every word of it. A little bit of that. Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Can't you see it? Can't you feel it? It's all in the air. I can't stand the pressure much longer. Somebody say a prayer. Then, a little over a century after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, Nina Simone slaps gradualism in the face and throws politeness out the window. You don't have to live next to me. Just give me my equality. Yes, you lied to me all these years. You told me to wash and clean my ears and talk real fine just like a lady, and you stopped calling me Sister Sadie. Oh, but this whole country is full of lies. You're all gonna die and die like flies. I don't trust you anymore. Keep on saying, go slow. At the end of the Montgomery Civil Rights March in Alabama on March 25th, a concert was given. 10,000 people gathered around so tightly that 57 of them fainted. Accompanied only by her guitarist, Nina Simone sang Mississippi Goddamn on a stage made from empty coffin crates. After the performance, she was introduced to Martin Luther King. "I'm not nonviolent," she declared, sticking out her hand. "That's okay, sister," Dr. King replied. "You don't have to be." Nina Simone moved to Europe and Africa in the early 1970s. "I left this country because I didn't like this country," she told an interviewer. "I didn't like what it was doing to my people, and I left." She was ever after associated with the civil rights movement, even though her ultimate conclusion was that political music was a professional liability. She told one interviewer that she regretted writing Mississippi Goddam because it hurt her career. "There is no reason to sing those songs. Nothing is happening." Simone told the interviewer in the 1980s, "There's no civil rights movement. Everybody's gone. But there had been a reason to sing those songs, even when it was done at personal expense. It was dangerous," she said about performing for the movement's marches and rallies. "We encountered many people who were after our hides. I was excited by it, though, because I felt more alive than I do now, because I was needed, could sing something to help my people, and that became the mainstay of my life, the most important thing." And it's true. It's hard to be political sometimes as a musician, and after doing some research into Nina Simone and what she stood for, this song leapt out of me, and it was actually used for a production of one of Echo Theater Collective's. And I'm going to sing it for you now. It's called Bang Bang. It's high time you got it right. That big love's worth the fight. 'Cause you make it all, your pain and your strife, and then you wonder what come of your life. Pendulum swung and she made a stand, 'cause the backlash swing is coming again. The silent voice inside your head, so quiet now, it's almost dead. Shots ring out, but do you make a sound? Hovering now to kiss the ground. Shots ring out and then we start the race. Just another rat running through this maze. Bang, bang, it goes again. Hovering among clouds of white. Don't take away the darkest night. Hovering against the wall, funnel ears can hear it all. It's high time you got it right. That peace and love is worth the fight. Not the dollars and chains that make of your life while you watch the world lose their sight. Shots ring out, but do you make a sound? Hovering down, kiss the ground. Shots ring out and then we start the race. Just another rat running through this maze. Bang, bang goes again. Bang, bang goes again. Bang, bang goes again.
Hello, that was beautiful, Cheryl. The song is called Petulance. I'm so happy to be here. I don't want to hold on. I don't want to let go. Want to feel the poisonous vines consume me and grow. I don't want to do right. I don't want to play fair. Want to feel that witch's fingers tangled up in my hair. I want what I want, and what I want is you. And I'm too tired to care, too wild to care, too tired to care, too wild to care. I'm locked in a tower. It's dry, it's safe, it's warm. Cast away as an infant, vain attempt to do no harm. But now I'm restless. Feel the walls closing in. Feel the weight of my burdens pulling off my skin. But I ain't no maiden, no passive little child. I won't do as I ought to. I'm all breathless and wild. And I want to give in, to give in, to give in. And it's you I want to give in. And I'm too tired to care. I'm too wild to care. Too tired to care. Too wild to care. I'm blinded by the thorns, though I've yet to fall. And I'm deafened by the sound of your silent call. I don't want to wait for this moment to pass. I don't care that nothing like this can ever last. I just want what I want, and what I want is for you to give in to me. And I'm too tired to care. I'm too wild to care, too tired, too wild to care. Thank you.
All right, wow, this is going so great. I'm like seriously vibing, hanging out in the green room, watching everyone. Drop some applause emojis into the chat or some love for all these beautiful women and non-binary people we have performing tonight. Oh my gosh, it's so great so far. But yeah, show your appreciation. Let's see those applause emojis. All right. So hosting isn't my usual deal, but I'm having a great time doing tonight. Right now we're having like a little intermission, but like don't go anywhere. Like you're at home. If you have to use the bathroom, like take your phone to the toilet. We don't care. So of course I have like notes now. Happy Women's History Month. This is so exciting. We have the little X in our women, which I actually didn't know what that meant until Maui explained it to me like an hour ago, which is basically just taking the men out of women, which is so amazing. Oh, there's some applause. Yay. And the nice thing about this inclusive version of the word woman is that it includes our non-binary folks, and basically anyone who isn't a man. And we all get to celebrate Women's History Month together. It's a beautiful night out. So like, thanks for joining us on a night where you could be going for a nice night walk, or maybe you are. But I have my window open. That's just to say that I have my window open. So if you hear like dogs or cars or wind, just ignore it. I'm not closing my window. It's too nice out. All right. So another reminder. Oh, look at all this love going on in the chat. Yes. Yay. All right. Of course, as you can see, the ticker we've had going the whole show. Donate, donate, donate. Donate to Echo Theater Collective. You can go to our website, go to the little menu, and hit the donate button. And 30% of what you donate will then be donated to Sarah's Inn. Thank you, Allison. Which is the organization that we are supporting tonight. And during our little performance intermission, not intermission that we're having here, I'm going to bring in someone from Sarah's Inn to kind of like chat about it. She is the community education coordinator, and she's going to go ahead and tell us a bit about Sarah's Inn. Let's bring her in. Hello, this is Aniela. Nice to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join. And so far, it's just been such an amazing event. I'm so impressed, like, especially virtually, like, this is really cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm just so glad that I could get a hold of you and have you come and talk with us today. So why don't you just start out by the basics? Tell us a little bit about Sarah's Inn.
Sure. So Sarah's Inn, we're located in Forest Park. We actually used to be in Oak Park, but now we're in Forest Park. And we're really focused on serving survivors of domestic violence. And, you know, the way that we do that is we have just a range of free and confidential services for survivors and their children. And so that includes, you know, just kind of general advocacy of, you know, safety planning with someone, hearing their story, just kind of accompanying them on whatever they choose to do to respond to that situation. We also help people obtain orders of protection at the courthouses, and provide counseling both in group and individual settings. During COVID, we've been doing a mix, right? So we've been doing both virtual and in-person services because we know that it's not always safe for someone to be able to have those services take place at home virtually. They don't always have privacy or just the safety to do that. So we've been doing a mix. It's been a tricky year, but I think fortunately, I think there's been even greater awareness around domestic violence during COVID. Like even very early on, there were a lot of just really good conversations about, hey, this is a group of people that really need services and support because COVID has presented such unique challenges to people, you know, having safe spaces to go, having access to financial resources. We also do programs with youth. So we have a prevention team that actually goes into middle schools and high schools, and they teach curriculum around healthy dating, consent, just overall wellness. Yeah, they're really cool. I am always inspired by the things that they are doing. And then we host a variety of trainings, and we're working on, you know, different ways of engaging with the community. And then the other service that we offer too is for actually the individuals who have perpetrated abuse. So we actually have something called the Partner Abuse Intervention Program, which is, you know, a series of classes for individuals who have actually used abuse in their relationships to kind of help develop like other, you know, healthy ways of dealing with conflict in relationships and kind of acknowledging and really taking ownership over, I caused harm and now I need to do something to change that, right, to stop that harm. So that's kind of the breadth of what we do. We have a 24-hour crisis line, and that's usually how folks maybe first connect with us, is through that hotline.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us that overview. I love especially that you have programs for youth because, like, obviously this isn't something that high schoolers get taught in school, and a lot of stuff isn't even things that their parents will talk to them about, you know. So it's so important to start this kind of awareness with the teenagers and where relationships start. So that's just awesome. I want to shout out your website real quick. So if people have more questions when we're finished talking, they can go check you out. That is sarahsin.org. Yeah, so do you want to talk more about maybe some events you have coming up? Probably all like virtual events, but
Yeah, they're primarily virtual at this point. So something that I get to do in my role, I actually just recently, I used to work as an advocate, so working directly with families, and I moved into this new role. So we're performing a lot of programming right now.
okay.
But some things that we're really trying to do is just kind of have more ways to invite just general community members to talk about this subject, because it's a difficult subject to talk about. It's a heavy one, but it also, you know, has really widespread impact. And so if you go on our website, you'll see that we actually had started a podcast series during COVID. So that's really easy. Yeah, a couple staff just came up with it and just ran with it. And so now we actually have, I think, going on 11 episodes, just kind of exploring like, you know, consent, or we have really great interviews with like our youth committee, which is a group of high school youth that, you know, just gather to talk about these topics. They're wiser than the rest of us, honestly. So yeah, so amazing. And then some other things that we're doing, we're actually hosting an event called it's the Not a Book Club, but the idea of it is that we have like a short video instead of a book to kind of foster a discussion, and then how it relates to domestic violence. So we're going to be talking about a video that has to do with the history of transgender folks, and then relating that back to like, how does this relate to domestic violence? Why is it important to have visibility? And so that's a virtual series that we'll be having every month. And then the last thing I'll kind of highlight is, if you work at a salon, if you know someone who works at a salon, we're hosting domestic violence trainings specifically for salon professionals. And that's a new thing that we're doing as well. So we try to host a variety of things in ways that people can engage with us. Because we need everybody's investment to, you know, to really move forward.
Yeah, awesome. And people can learn more about the podcast and the events on your website, correct?
Correct.
Awesome, cool. So are there other ways that people can get involved at this time? I know some organizations aren't really taking volunteers, but what about you guys?
Yeah, so we do have some opportunities for volunteers right now. So we actually have a rotation of volunteers that help support our staff with the crisis line. And so that's one of the primary ways. Yeah, so supporting with, you know, taking shifts over the weekend or over the holidays. And all those volunteers go through a 40-hour training with us. But kind of there's sort of a range of opportunities that, you know, sometimes it's coming in and just helping organize our pantry, because that's something that can sometimes be difficult for us to find the time to do between everything else. So I think, like, if anyone is interested, or if you're not sure if you have a skill that would be something that we need, absolutely reach out to Sarah's Inn. You can either contact us through our main line, or we also have a general email on our website. We'll find a way. Like, if you have a passion for this, or if you want to learn more about this, absolutely, we'll find a way to connect you.
So thank you so much for chatting with us. Is there anything else you would like to add before we move on with our second half of programming?
No, just thank you, and we'll be enjoying the rest of it.
Yes, thank you. Like I said, website is sarahsin.org. You can go there to check out what they're about, their events, getting involved, and donating directly to them as well. All right, thank you so much, Daniela. It was an honor having you.
Thank you.
See ya. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go on. We have some more monologues and songs and speeches for you. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Maura, and I will be sharing a piece that I wrote. I like to call this Born Again Feminist. I am the daughter of a stay-at-home suburban housewife, a product of the Chicago area suburbs. My very first protest march, so I'm told, according to my mother, happened when I was pretty young. I marched down the street naked, pulling a wagon full of my dolls and stuffed animals behind me, and chanted about equal rights for women. I was maybe 4, 1966. A little young to be a hippie, but I think I would have been a good one if I'd just been born a little sooner. Who knows? A few years later, a neighbor was selling his house. Another neighbor publicly objected that the house was being shown to Black families. He was appalled. Under cover of darkness, my siblings and I took the very heavy metal for sale sign from the house that was up for sale and relocated it to the other neighbor's house. We weren't quiet. The sign was big. It was heavy. We ran back home with the man chasing us. My mom let us in, sent us up to our rooms, and closed the door. And when the angry neighbor got there, maybe a few seconds later, pounding on the door to complain about what we had done, she looked him in the eye and told him that her babies were upstairs sleeping and had been all night. And how dare he falsely accuse us? That pretty much shut that down. My mom put us up to this act of civil disobedience, then defended us and stood her ground when we got caught. My mom, who at some point had lost her own voice unless she was using it to defend someone else. I guess you could say that I come by my feminism and my activism naturally. My grandmother had 8 children over the course of about 20 years, give or take. Throughout her pregnancies and breastfeeding and child rearing, she finished college, went to law school, and passed the bar in the 1930s. She never had any intention of practicing law, but she wanted to prove that she could. I'll fast forward a bit, skip the Louisville Watergate years. But in high school, I remember meeting with the local Rotary Club, the men asking what I wanted to do after graduation, college being a nice place to meet a husband. Most suggested the role of wife and mother would be enough, but I bristled at the blatant sexism. I could be whatever I wanted, do whatever I wanted. It was 1979. I was 17, and the world was my oyster. I listened to Holly Near, had my own copy of Our Bodies, Ourselves. I had no idea what the next several decades would bring. In many ways, I was that naive, naked 4-year-old marching down the street with my dolls, full of innocence and idealism. I miss that young woman. She was actually pretty cool. Over the next decades, I think it's important to note that I enjoyed a lot of privileges and rights that were won through the blood and sweat and tears of the women who came before us. Access to birth control, abortion, medical care, education, voting, all of that fought for by other women. But over the years, for me, I guess I became complacent. The protests and feminism took a backseat to living my life and earning a living. At some point, I had learned to be silent, to get along and avoid the inevitable eye rolls. Like my mother before me, I lost my voice. But in the fall of 2016, I watched Hillary Clinton wrapping up a debate on TV with a lump in my throat and tears of pride in my eyes, absolutely knowing she was about to become the next president of the United States. A woman who spoke her mind and wasn't afraid to be the smartest in the room. A woman I could stand behind. But then came that devastation of that November morning and all the fear and uncertainty that followed. Fear and uncertainty that is still here more than 4 years later. So I call myself a born-again feminist. I see the freedoms I took for granted in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s being stripped away one by one. And silently boycotting Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A just isn't enough anymore. On January 21st, 2017, I went to my first protest march in decades. I stood and walked shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of thousands of people from all walks of life, united towards a common goal. The sense of community and empowerment that I felt on that day cannot be fully described. But the backlash came later in the form of criticism from both within the movement and outside of it. And it was frustrating to hear. I went from feeling so empowered to disillusioned almost overnight. And I had to wonder, are we too fractured to come together for a common good? I hope not. In these past 4 years, we've seen a war waged on women, a war waged on the environment, a war waged on the poor, on immigrants, on children, and especially on people of color. A war being waged on our very souls. And it's time to come together and start fighting back. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Jane Bolland, and I'll be doing a monologue tonight from Princess Diaries. It's at the very end of the movie, and Princess Mia is deciding what to do about her future, and I think it speaks a lot to the power of a young mind, and with so many amazing young women these days speaking up, it's sort of a nice testament to that power and that feeling. Hi, hello, I'm Mia. Stop raining. I'm really no good at speech making. Normally I get so nervous that I faint or run away, or sometimes I even get sick. But you really didn't need to know that. I'm not so afraid anymore. See, my father helped me. Earlier this evening, I had every intention of giving up my claim to the throne. My mother helped me by telling me it was okay and supporting me like she has for my entire life. But then I wondered how I'd feel after abdicating my role as Princess of Genovia. Did I feel relieved or feel sad? And then I realized how many stupid times a day I use the word I. And probably all I ever do is think about myself. And how lame is that when there's like 7 billion people out there and on the planet, and I'm going too fast. But then I thought, if I cared about the other 7 billion out there instead of just me, that's probably a much better use of my time. See, if I were Princess of Genovia, then my thoughts and the thoughts of people smarter than me would be much better heard. And just maybe those thoughts could be turned into actions. So, this morning, when I woke up, I was Mia Thermopolis. But I now choose to be forevermore Amelia Mignonette Thermopolis Rinaldi, Princess of Genovia. Thank you.
Hi again. I just wanted to say that it has been a very inspirational night thus far. Everyone has done such an amazing job, and it's been an honor to perform alongside these women. for a wonderful cause. So happy Women's History Month, everyone. This song is untitled, so feel free to drop a line about what it should be named, maybe, if you're inspired. Here I am, these walls. He's got the lock and key. I'll do my time, 'cause I did the crime. I was trying to feed my baby. My baby. No silver spoon in my mouth to eat and sleep with ease. I wake up to my baby's cry and pray for some relief. My baby. My baby. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. All mama can do is try. I just wanna keep you fed and warm, and safe and sound from the storm. My baby. My baby. My baby. My baby. Thank you.
Hello, it's Stephanie again, and I'm going to be performing a monologue from Easy A. I have my cat Deacon here. He's going to be my scene partner, apparently, against my own will. So that's fine. You're cute. The rumors of my promiscuity have been greatly exaggerated. I used to be anonymous. A nothing, non-entity. Google Earth couldn't find me if I was dressed up as a 10-story building. I know. Pretty cutting edge stuff, huh? A high school girl feeling anonymous. Who am I? Why am I here? Do I matter? Blah, blah, blah. Snore. Don't worry. This isn't one of those tales. But it sure started out that way. Let the record show that I, Olive Pendergast, being of sound mind, ample breast size, and the occasional corny knock-knock joke, do enter this into evidence in the case against me. Because I'm being judged by a jury of my peers, I will attempt to insert like and totally into my confession as much as possible. I will also end my statements with a question mark. So here it goes. I confess I'm in no small part to blame for all the gossip that has turned my varsity letter scarlet. But for any guy hoping that the sizzling details of my sordid past will inspire you to lock the bathroom door and do it to it with your sister's moisturizing lotion, you'll be gravely disappointed. Not to mention unsatisfied. And probably smelling like hibiscus. Thank you.
Hello, it's Lindsay Jane Bolland again. This is a monologue from An Education, one of my favorite films, and we've got a lot of celebration of where we are, but it's not easy to forget all the struggles that we went through. And yeah, this is a little moment in time. We won't be getting married in a church. David's Jewish. Nobody has been able to explain to me the point of university. Therefore, I don't see the point of exams either. Nobody does anything worth doing with the degree. No woman, anyway. It's boring. Studying is hard and boring. Teaching is hard and boring. So you're telling me to be bored, and then bored again, and finally bored again, but this time for the rest of my life. This whole stupid country is bored. There's no life in it, or color, or fun. It's probably just as well that the Russians are going to drop a nuclear bomb on us any second. So my choice is to do something hard and boring, or to marry my Jew and go to Paris and Rome and listen to jazz and read and eat good food in nice restaurants and have fun. It's not enough to educate us anymore, Mrs. Walters. You've got to tell us why you're doing it. I don't mean to be pertinent, Mrs. Walters, but it is an argument worth rehearsing. You never know. Somebody else might want to know the point of it all one day. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm going to be basically reperforming Greta Thunberg's speech to the UN. I think it was a couple of years ago now. Time all blends together these days, right? But I think it's really important to share her speech just because she's obviously, I think she's 18, she's a year younger than I am, and she's doing things that grown people have struggled to do for decades. So I just think she covers the board with this. So my message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back home at school across the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that, because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil. And that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees, and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you. But those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation, sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees global temperature rise, the best odds given by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the world had 422 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you, and if you choose to fail us, I say, we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming, whether you like it or not. Thank you.
Hello, what an amazing show. So many talented women. Thank you so much to Echo for putting this on. This is our closer. So I'm going to do a song called Shadow Sister, and I wrote this song up for my sister, but I really feel this for all of my sisters out there. I'll be what you need. Whoops, I'm going to try that again. I'll be what you need to stand strong on your feet, to be bold on your own, to be free. I'll be in the front, in the back, all around you, so you can finally breathe and just be. You may need a knight in shining armor. I happen to be dressed and ready. I'll unsheath my battle-tried blade and take no prisoners. You may need You may need a special operative. I happen to have a suit of camouflage. It can be in and out in minutes with every scrap of intel you could ever need. You may need. But I'll be what you need to stand strong on your feet, to be bold on your own, to be free. I'll be in the front, in the back, all around you, so you can finally breathe and just be. You may need a trusty sidekick. I happen to have my girl wonder suit right here in the car. Don't be afraid to float away. I've spent my whole life reaching up for you. You may need, you may need. I'll be what you need to stand strong on your feet, to be bold on your own, to be free. I'll be in the front, in the back, all around you, so you can finally breathe and just be. Nothing can stop you from being free. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Oh my goodness. Another round of applause for each other for a wonderful show tonight. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you, everyone who performed. And thank you, everyone who has donated or will be donating. Please support our local theater and support, even more important, support our local, our Saracen, who is women and people in domestic violence situations. Yeah, that's our show. It was awesome. Yeah, there's some applause in the chat. Yay! Happy Women's History Month, everyone. It's good. It's warmer. Like, things are looking up. We had a great show. All right. Yay! Look, almost like an audience is here.
All right.
That's my mom. All right. That we will sign off. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.